Good morning. Our first issue is LAC, line of actual control, and growing China's infrastructure built up in that particular area. We know that last year, India and China, we had a major conflict in the eastern Ladakh region, especially in these regions, Galwan Valley region, Gogra, Hot Springs, Demchok, Despang Valley, and Pangangso Lake. Out of these, Galwan Valley and Pangangso region, here we have disengaged. Talks were happening. 11 rounds of talks have happened till now. And other areas like Gogra, Hot Springs, Demchok, Despang Valley, these are still under the conflict regions. Last year, Indian Army's Special Frontier Force, we have occupied Kailash ranges near Pangangso Lake. We used it as a bargaining chip. That's how slowly de-escalation talks, disengagement talks started. Now again, China is building temporary and permanent infrastructure near the LAC. Troops deployment is happening. That's a growing concern to India. Next issue is G7 meeting. G7, group of 7, these are developed countries, economically developed countries. They have invited 3 other countries, Australia, South Korea and India. These 3 countries are not part of G7. They invited us to the meeting, that's it. And the outcomes of this meet includes these developed countries, they have promised 1 billion vaccines to the developing countries. This project called Build Back Better World project, that's an infrastructure project based on the principles of transparency and openness. It is seen as an opposite to One Belt One Road initiative of China that has been proposed. Under climate finance, these countries they have pledged $100 billion transferred to the developing countries by 2022, either to the government route or through the private route. That has been promised. Minimum tax deal, minimum corporate tax deal that was already negotiated, and these countries they have reiterated the commitment to inquiry into the origin of the virus. On that we have another article, we will discuss it under editorial section. These are the outcomes of G7 meeting. India also participated and India said we have to maintain the cyber security. Now, TRIPS waiver with regard to vaccine manufacturing. So we have discussed on that also. Next issue is new coffee species, new coffee plant. This was discovered in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Prosteria lalzi is the name of that. It belongs to genus Prosteria. It is in critically endangered list of IUCN. One of the characteristics of this particular species is its height and varied nature of the seeds. In general, these species are found in Madagascar Island. Now, we discovered it in Andaman Nicobar Island. Next issue is space trip. Recently, Blue Origin, owned by Amazon's head Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin has announced an auction for a space trip. An anonymous bidder has paid $28 million for that, for one single space trip. That means they go till they go till a certain height, maybe 100 kilometers, 120, and then they come back. Space trip. So the Blue Origin's launch vehicle is New Shepard launch vehicle. The speciality of this is vertically it takes off and vertical landing. Vertical takeoff and vertical landing is the speciality of this New Shepard launch vehicle, and the crew module is also called New Shepard crew module. Jeff Bezos himself is going in that space trip, the first space trip. Next issue is rare earth minerals, USA China's rivalry. That means as China is the home to the largest resources of rare earth minerals, USA and European Union, they are heavily dependent upon China. That is 90% of rare earth minerals that are used in USA are imported from China. Similarly, 98% to European Union. So this dependence is increasing. And what if China suddenly stops exports to these countries? That's why they're going for diversification, alternative sources. By the way, why do we use these rare earth minerals? What are the uses of it? Neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium, These are some of the rare earth minerals. These are used in manufacture of magnets, which are used in wind turbines, electric cars, consumer goods such as smartphones. In these areas, we are using these rare earth minerals. So, going for alternative resource, especially as we are moving more towards renewables, use of rare earth minerals is increasing. Demand for rare earth minerals is increasing. As China heavily subsidizes, many countries are importing these rare earth minerals, increasing their dependency on China. Next issue is Northern Ireland and related controversy. Recently, there's a controversy saying that French president said Northern Ireland is not part of UK, something like that. But then they said we told that statement in a different context, in a geographical context. That was the explanation given. But then let's understand what is this issue. UK, United Kingdom, was part of European Union, which was 28 member group earlier. But UK has voted to exit from this particular grouping, which we call as Brexit. After Brexit, so how should the trade be with the European Union? Because earlier trade restrictions were not there, trade barriers were not there as part of European Union. But now how should the trade happen? On that, negotiations are already happening, but there is no conclusion as of now. With Northern Ireland, which has common border with the Republic of Ireland, as of now, the trade between Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland are happening similar to when it was in European Union. So now that's one of the controversies. We exited from the group, but still you are doing trade with one of our constituents, that is Northern Ireland, in the same way as we were doing earlier. Then why do we exit? What was the purpose? That's the question of UK. That has become a sensitive issue now. Next issue is origin of COVID virus. WHO, it has proposed 4 pathways. 1, direct zoonotic transmission. 2, introduction of virus through another intermediary host. 3, through food. 4, laboratory incident. As of now, there is no evidence for any of these. First, for bioengineering, that is lab manufactured or laboratory incident, there is no proof as of now. Identification of host as a pathway 1 is not there. That is, from which bat species this coronavirus jumped into humans, we don't know. Intermediary, that means from bat to, let's say, some other animal, from that to humans. That evidence is also not there. So as of now, origins are unclear. That's why in the G7 meeting, many these countries, they have requested WHO and they have asked China to cooperate in a transparent probe. Why should we understand the origin of the virus? Then only we can understand the better treatment methods. Then only we can understand on how to reduce the risk of future transmissions. Yes or no? Yes. Next issue is cyber resilience. Conventionally, we think that cyber attacks and cyber threats, they are towards, most of them are towards strategic and defense areas. But now they are slowly moving towards civilian targets. For example, if you take last year solar winds, this is a cyber attack on USA's many of the government agencies got impacted. Few years back in 2014, Aramco is Saudi Arabia's largest and biggest oil producer. On that company, Shavamon virus, it hit and it has erased the entire data. Stuxnet, one of the important viruses or cyber threats that impacted the Iran's nuclear program. And many ransomware attacks are happening. Zero-day software. Zero-day software means it erases entire data. Previous data won't be there. So zero-day software and phishing, sending emails. Recently in India, this has happened. Sending emails and gathering their data. Phishing. So these are all happening and we should protect our civilian targets. Now in this case, what can we do? We can use the advanced technology, artificial intelligence, quantum computing. These can be used to protect the cyber systems, building cyber infrastructure, cyber policies, awareness. We should be aware, as no citizens and other organizations should be aware. That's where we get the preparedness. These are all the methods and ways in which we can protect and we can be cyber resilient. Next issue is biosafety and security. COVID-19 issue, it is highlighting this biosafety and biosecurity issue. Synthetic biology, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, these are dominating the technology spheres. Now, synthetic biology, that means biotechnology using genetic engineering, they have biosecurity concerns. It can be misused, it can have accidental cases. For example, what if this COVID-19 is proved to be a accidental or misuse of the biotools? Sarna, in that context, we should have biological safety. In that context, we have Biological and Toxic Weapons Convention 1972, but the problem is there is no verification clause under that particular convention. In that context, India is much more vulnerable due to high population density, poor surveillance, existence of multiplicity of institutions, lack of interministerial coordination, and ill trained border controls. In that context, we should maintain our policy in such a way that biosecurity is given the utmost priority. Final issue is Manichenism. Manichenism. This is a philosophy, it's given in a political context, but we have to know its origins. Manichenism is a religious sect founded by Parthian prophet Mani in the 3rd century AD. This particular religious sect, it believes that after Jesus Christ, Buddha, prophet Mani is the last prophet. That's how they believe in. And they believe in dualism, existence of good and bad only, no other thing. Recently, the statements of USA's president and the policies of USA, they differentiate the countries as democracies and authoritarian countries. That's it. But this dualism might not work in the foreign policy discourse. There are many contradictions among the democratic countries itself. So, dualism, this kind of Manicheanism in foreign policy, might not be good for global coordination. Thank you very much. All the very best.